She's not there. I'm closing with the DM. DM, you want to say 1 or 2 words?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I think the honorable members they've said a mouthful already. Mine is to just say congratulations to our committee secretary, and we really appreciate to see that education is as well made fashionable by our support staff at the level of Parliament. We are truly inspired, Chair, and congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm deliberately sidelining male honorable members.
I see that, Chair. I see that. But that's not fair because there's no equality there.
Chairperson, if you allow me,
I thought as much already will say something.
Because Section 9 of the Constitution, which our jurist in the making has studied, says that we are all equal. Now, you are in violation, Chair, of the Constitution, but congratulations nonetheless.
Thanks very much. Congratulations, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and all the members. Thank you.
Secretary.
Hello, Chair.
You want to say something to the committee?
I would just to say thank you very much. I don't have words now. I'm so shocked. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much.
We love you, Koliswa.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, honorable members. Let's go back to our agenda. Like I said, we're preparing for next week's debate, budget debate, and we have to adopt the report after we have received presentation of strategic plans, APPs, and budget. Attached to the APPs is the budget for the financial year and the medium term. In terms of the agenda, we are supposed to adopt the minutes first. Can you fly to them? The minutes of the 11th June, they were sent to you, honorable members, I think yesterday. I hope you've gone through them. I'll take them as read, but let's scroll down page by page. There's the agenda, attendance. Let's scroll down. We're on page 2 now. We're on page 3. Opening and welcome, apologies, opening remarks. We're on page 4. Briefing by the department. Deliberations. Let's move on. Briefing by NHPRC, let's move on. Deliberations. Questions and answers, yes. Let's move on. Committee resolutions. Let's go back to committee resolutions. Those are committee recommendations, honorable members. I'm just emphasizing them. Those are some of the things that you said in that meeting. There was an emphasis on, okay, the meeting and closure. There are the minutes. Are there amendments or? If you agree, Honorable Ditebe.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Ordinarily, there will be issues that belong to the minutes and for them to be followed through oversight. But to the extent that some of the issues we've raised in this set of minutes may find expression in the recommendations of the report that we will adopt later, I implore the colleagues that we go through the minutes with the report with a fine-tooth comb, and if there are issues that we can lift out of what we agreed upon in this set of minutes, then we can incorporate them in the report. It's not necessarily a given, but I'm just saying, just so that from the point of view of the report that we will adopt of the committee, then we can maybe distill some of the salient aspects of what we have deliberated upon in the meeting based on these minutes. But other than that, Chair, I move for the adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ditebe. Can I get a second for the adoption of the minutes? Honorable Magagula.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you. I second Comrade, I second Member Ditebe for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much. Any alternative view? Thanks very much. Let's look at the report with that view that if there are issues that needs to be lifted, let's do that. Let's go to the next item, which is the report, and the acting content advisor will lead us into that report. Can we fly to the report? And Tsepo, you will lead us. Tsepo? Yeah, you can take us through. Is Tsepo having problems? Secretary, can you check with him? I see he is unmuted, but you can't hear him.
Hello, Tsepo. Let me call him, Chair.
All right.
Hello, Chair. He's saying that he is using a desktop, so he's trying to join via a phone now.
Okay.
So that he can be audible. Seppo, can you hear me now? Seppo?
Am I also audible?
Yes, Seppo, we can hear you.
You are.
Proceed, Chair. The committee is waiting for you.
Okay.
But you are having two gadgets at the same time. Try to manage them.
Yes, I'm
Using the desktop.
Yeah. Continue, Tsepo.
yes. Thank you very much, Chairperson. My apologies, Mr. Chairman. Let me just cut to the chase.
I'm sorry, Chair. There are two.
Using Tsepo, you are using two gadgets that are next to each other. I don't know where you're going to. Let Koliswa apply it for you so that you switch off one gadget.
Okay.
Honorable Amede, you wanted to say something?
No, I wanted to settle that person.
All right. Secretary, can you fly on his behalf?
Okay, so I'm going to flight the report.
Thank you. Thank you, Kolis. Can I go on, Chair?
Yes, please continue.
Yes. On the first page, can you go to the first page, Kolis? It's the introduction that speaks to the provisions of the Constitution as it relates to broadly to human settlements. And then can you go to the second page? The second page relates to the policy imperatives. That is the chapter 8 of the National Development Plan. And the chapter 8 of the National Development Plan and how it is linked to the medium-term development plan of the current development plan of the 2024-25. Which then speaks to the can you go to the third page? The MTDP, Chairperson, it intends to achieve the following: that by the end of 2029, the department the department should have managed to achieve the following issues: the issues of well-located social housing and associated land. I should have put it land. The development of more peripheral areas by land release and infrastructure service provision. The support of the larger intervention program for related intervention to address the backlog of title deeds for subsidized housing and thereby turning homes into household assets, and the review of the land use, building and other regulation to enable low-cost property development, increased access to adequate housing through various programs, and the development of livable neighborhoods in both rural and urban environments to achieve a spatial transformation. Chairperson, we also remember that, can we go to the 4th page, Makoni? During our State of the Nation, and in relation to what has just been said, the President's pronounced on the following, on the infrastructure projects, which includes the infrastructure fund of 100 billion allocation from the fiscus over a 10-year period. However, to date, 34 out of 50 strategic infrastructure projects are at an implementation stage, costing around 281 billion of the total budget of 340 billion thus far. And then the SONA also spoke about the title deeds, that government is committed to clearing the backlog of title deeds, despite the challenges of 2 million unissued title deeds, and the reclaiming of the hijacked buildings for public use. That government is going to partner with the provinces and metros to reclaim hijacked buildings to repurpose them for the public purposes. The 4th page, it's the planned policy development, which relates, of course, to the white paper which was approved by cabinet, and the crafting of additional policy foundations. This will include the PI Act, policy foundation, and emergency housing guidelines for dealing with inner city challenges. Those are policy developments thus far. And then we looked at the spending priorities. That is the 5th page, Koleso. You're looking at the performance analysis and the spending priorities. In partnership with provinces and municipalities, the department expects to deliver 85,000 fully subsidized houses over the medium term, with provincial allocations planned to subsidize low-income housing through the HSDG, costing or amounting to 43 billion, while the allocation to fund associated bulk infrastructure projects in metropolitan municipalities through the USDG over the same period will cost around 28.4 billion. These initiatives have been budgeted for in Program 2 of the Integrated Human Settlement Planning and Development Program, in which spending is expected to increase at an average rate of 2.9% from 22 billion. That is from 22.8 billion in 2024-25 to 24 billion for over the MTEF period, so to speak. And then the other issue relates to informal settlement upgrading. Through the informal settlement upgrading partnership grants, with separate allocation for provinces and municipalities, The ISUP was established to provide bulk infrastructure services and to improve governance in response to urban migration and an increase in the number of informal settlement across South Africa. However, over the medium term, the ISUP grants will enable provinces and municipalities to provide a targeted 184 informal settlement with water, sewage disposal, stormwater disposal, solid waste removal, and electricity, roads, and be able to deliver a target of 99,567 stands with support municipal infrastructure services. Allocation to this grant will cost around 4.7 billion. However, decreasing at an annual rate of 33. At an average rate of 33.1%. That is from 3.3 billion over the MTF period to 971.9 million. This is as a consequence of cabinet approved reduction announced in 2024 budget. The allocations to the municipal part of the grant is amount to 14.8 billion, increasing at an average rate from 4.5 billion from 4.5 billion over the MTF period to 5.2 billion. And then I will jump off, Chairperson. I want to jump off because of these figures are also reflected in the programs. Can I be allowed to jump off and focus on in the main to the programs, because I think they are also better captured also there. Macaulay, can we move direct to the budget analysis, and so that I can then speak to the budget analysis? Thank you. Over the first part, Chairperson, reflects the overall budget of the department. That is administration, integrated human settlements, planning, informal settlements, rental, and housing and affordable housing. These are the programs that the department has, and that is using to implement the policies mentioned above. According to this budget, the department has received an allocation of 34 billion for this financial year. And however, for 2026, and this budget has increased from the previous year from an adjusted budget of the previous year of 33.7 billion, which then constitute a nominal increase of 4.4%. But when considering the effect of inflation, this results in a negative 0.5 real decline. None of the departmental 5 main programs have experienced this above inflation increase. In fact, all of them decline when considering this inflationary effect. Koliswa, can we go to program 1? Program 1 is constituted of the following sub-programs, which relates to the ministry, the departmental management, corporate services, property management, and financial management. This program has had an allocation of 532 million, for the 2025 financial year, showing a nominal increase of negative 1%. 1% compared to the previous financial year. In real terms, each budget declines by negative 5.5%. The second program is the main one is an integrated human settlement planning and development. The main objective of this program is to transfer and monitor the HSDG to provinces and the USDG to metropolitan municipalities as per the Annual Division of Revenue Act. Conduct and develop housing and human settlement policies and programs as required. It also, in the main, seeks to promote planning coordination, strengthen intergovernmental cooperation across and within different spheres of government through the provision of support to provinces, municipalities, in the development of the remaining 25 of the 94 integrated implementation plans by 2025-26, and the facilitation of intergovernmental forums and stakeholder partnerships on an ongoing basis. The sub-programs on this program relates to the management of integrated human settlements, the micro-sector planning, the micro-policy and research, monitoring and evaluation, public entity oversight, grant management and capacity and sector support. As a result, this program takes about 70% of the departmental overall budget that is located under Program 2. This program has had an allocation of 23.9 billion this financial year, showing a nominal increase of 4.7%. And in real terms, the overall program declines by negative 0.1%. And none of the, I can't repeat that one. And then we go to grant management sub-program, which dominates the expenditure under Program 2, with its 23.4 billion allocation. Then follows the public entity oversight program, which receives also the largest allocation. Here, Chairperson, I've actually tried to table in a particular order the program that receives the highest until the program that receives the least among those programs. Can we go to Program 3, Macaulay? Informal settlements. The purpose of Program 3 is to provide policy, informal settlement is to provide policy planning and capacity support for the upgrading of informal settlements, and to oversee the implementation of informal settlement upgrading. It is constituted of 3 programs, that is the management of informal settlements, grant management and capacity building of the sector. Program 3 for 2025 budget, it had declined in both nominal and real terms from an adjusted allocation of previous financial year. And this resulted in it declining by negative 8.5% in nominal terms and 12% in real decline in the allocation for the transfer and subsidies to municipalities and provinces. However, it has an allocation of 8.1 billion for this financial year. Grant management received the largest out of the sub-3, but it declines in real terms with 12.8%. And the capacity building sector sub-program has received a largest allocation with 7.4 million, reflecting a nominal increase of 8.2% and 3.3% increase in real terms. We go to program 4, Macaulay. The purpose of program 4 is to promote the provision of affordable rental housing, monitor the performance of social housing regulatory authority, and develop capabilities in the rental housing sector through intergovernmental collaboration and evidence-based research. It is constituted of also 3 programs. That is management of the rental and social housing, public entity oversight, capacity building. The program has received for this financial, in the previous financial year, it has received 923 million. And however, for this financial year, the budget has increased to 968 million. Can we go to program 5, Macaulay? Program 5, the purpose of the program is to facilitate the provision of affordable housing finance and monitor market trends, develop research and policy that responds to demand, and to oversee housing finance entities that report to the minister. It is also constituted of 3 programs: the management of affordable housing, public entity oversight, the capacity building, and sector support. That is affordable housing. Chair, in the previous financial year, the affordable housing received a budget of, it was appropriated with a budget of 537.5 million, which increased for this financial year to 559.6 million. Koliswa, can we then go to committee observations and recommendations? Chairperson, the information, and members, the information that has just been reflected here is the information that was also presented by the department. Now, upon discussions that took place on the 23rd of April, the initial discussions that of the initial engagement with the committee, with the department and the entities, and the previous engagement that we had just on the 18th of June, the committee made the following observations. The concern that were raised were as follows: were that the committee raised the concern as to why there was government entities using consultants, given the fact that in most cases invoices produced to claim the work that has been done uses to make claims, given the fact that in most cases invoices are produced to claim the work that has not been done. And they were also concerned that the Housing Development Agency was not visible and known in most municipalities and in rural areas. As a result, clarity was sought on the plan to access those areas by the entity. A concern was raised about the management of social housing units, especially by municipalities, their performance and their challenges with rental collections. This included the question of illegal invasion, hijackings of buildings, and syndicates illegally collecting rentals. Concerns were also raised as to when the NHFC is becoming a bank and if there was a turnaround strategy to that effect. And a clarity was also sought on whether body corporates were paying fees and whether rental tribunals were effective in all provinces. Another concern which was raised by the committee was on the transformation fund being utilized and how the regulation of property prices was being implemented. Clarity was also sought on the legal challenges and the vacancy rate and revenue collections at CSOS. The following recommendations were made by the committee. That, and I want to emphasize that we withdraw these recommendations from the previous meeting as indicated. That the department should institute consequence management to provinces and metropolitan municipalities that were not spending on human settlements, that were not spending on the HSDG and the USDG, respectively. And the department must present a concrete action plan to ensure full expenditure on allocated budgets in the final quarter of 2025, and the quarterly expenditure reports should also be tabled before the portfolio committee, highlighting the risk and the mitigation strategies. That the provincial reports requested to be shared with the committee for members to have an effective engagement, as presentations have limited information. And request an update on the status quo of fraud and corruption cases and what has been done about them. Fast track the procurement processes by setting strict deadlines for approvals and service provider appointments. Therefore, a detailed breakdown of pending procurement approvals should then be submitted to Parliament. Submit a detailed report on the issuance of title deeds and the impact of the Friday Title Deed Program. Share the department's top structure, microstructure once approved by the minister. Fast track. I'm repeating this. Strengthen intergovernmental coordination through the interministerial committee chaired by the Deputy President to address the systemic housing delivery challenges and expedite the amendments to Social Housing Act and related legislation to enhance enforcement, compliance, and operational efficiency. Develop and implement a standardized frameworks for community consultation to minimize project delays and enhance stakeholder buy-in. Accelerate the automation of licensing, registration, compliance, and compliant management systems across entities to improve service delivery and data integrity. And address the critical vacancies promptly to ensure effective leadership and governance within the entities. Develop a sustainable and diversified funding approaches that provide entities with a direct access to national resources, reducing dependency on uneven regional transfers, and implement binding service level agreements with municipalities and other stakeholders, incorporating penalties for non-performance and ensuring timely delivery of housing projects. And maintaining also a rigorous audit and consequence management processes to uphold accountability and public confidence. Increase the efforts to educate and inform communities about housing program rights and responsibilities to foster active citizenry and support. Chairperson, you on the last part, it also relates on CSOS. The committee resolved on the issue of CSOS that the CSOS should strengthen partnership with government and private sector stakeholders to expand the transformation fund, enhance legal and regulatory framework to support transformation and compliance, increase stakeholder engagements, public awareness campaign to improve accessibility and service delivery, explore innovative revenue generation strategies to support financial to support its financial sustainability, and prioritize the filling in of critical vacancies and building an institutional capacity. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I think you might have noted that somewhere some of the things are repeated. You'll be able to clean the document. Honorable members, there is a report as per our meeting of the 11th. Let me see whether you want to add something that might have been left by mistake, or you want to remove something that is in the report, you want to emphasize, and so on. Honorable Ditebe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you, DM, and all the colleagues on the platform and our support staff. Once again, Chairperson, there are 18 pages here. Okay, let me start at the end. If you look at the part that refers to CSOS, the rest of the content, in fact, almost all of the content, actually refers to, for example, I raised this first point, in this first bullet, about the Transformation Fund. Last weekend, you will remember that the DG said, while indeed broadly the Transformation Fund could be thought to be inclusive of, for example, the mandate of the PPRA, etc. As far as I know, Chairperson, and if we know the mandate of CSOS, the Transformation Fund would not be the mention of the Transformation Fund with regards to the eradication of asset poverty and inequality, because that was the context in which it was raised, would not apply there. But before I even go to the rest of the points, the bullet points that are listed there on the last page, CSOS, if the content advisor wants to mention anything about it, in my view, belongs to pages 13 and 14, where reference is made, I think, under Program 5, made to NHFC, HDA, etc. Now, the point here, Chairperson, is that if you look at that, it doesn't belong there, so we should remove it and put it somewhere and then maybe make a comment about it. Now, the other issue, colleagues will come, Chair, I'm at home now. Somebody is knocking on the door, but I'll proceed nonetheless. What I'm saying is, Chair, that if you look at consequence management, or rather penalties, this is in reference, for example, to municipalities and other entities. Now, I'm not quite sure whether, as the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, for example, we can, or rather, we have the power to effect any penalties against municipalities. You will know that those are governed, for example, under COCTA. The only way that I know is that where municipalities have not spent, whether category B municipalities or A or C, they will forfeit their resources, and then those will revert back to National Treasury. So I think context there from a legal perspective must be found so that we do not mention something here that we will not be able to implement. If you look, for example, on the recommendations, it says, based on the reports presented and the deliberations, I think, of the committee, it must read, the committee recommends that the Department of Human Settlements, and maybe Chair, while the DM is here, I don't know whether, I know we talk of settlements, but here my understanding is that we often use it like in a singular form, settlement. But the DM will advise, being part of the executive. human settlements, just so that we are consistent in how we write it. I know others will say human settlements. So it must be must instead of should. Now, the first bullet says institute consequence management to, and I think it must say against provinces and metropolitan municipalities that we're not spending on the HSDG and USDG respectively. And I think we must remove as well as, because if you say as well as and then you add respectively, then it's tautological. So we must say the urban settlement and development grant respectively, so that takes care of and or as well as. Now, of course, wherever reference is made to should, that must be replaced by must. If you go to the first, second, third, fourth bullet, present, and I'll just read it the way I've edited it here, present and update on the progress that has been made on the occurrence of fraud and corruption cases and what has been done about them or about those. So the way it reads, I think should be edited, in my view, to read as I put it here, present an update on the progress, because I deleted the earlier version of the content advisor. So as I read it here, you can look at the text as presented to us without an amendment that I propose. So you will see the difference.
Sorry, Honorable Member, can you please indicate which bullet points you're referring to? Because okay. I'm trying to respond.
1, 2, 3. I said bullet 4 under recommendations. Yeah. Let me read it so that you can see your original text against what I propose. Okay. Mine reads as follows, as amended from my end. Present an update on the progress that has been made on the occurrence of fraud and corruption cases and what has been done about them. That's how mine would read. So you can listen to how mine flows as against your text. So if members feel differently, then they can propose a different wording. And of course,
so you say present, proposing present.
Present an update on the progress, because that's the substance of what the recommendation at bullet 4 says. When I read it, I understood it to mean that here what is being sought is a regular update on cases of fraud and corruption that is within the department, right? So that's basically it. So I edited it without losing the substance of what the original text sought to achieve. And fast track the procurement, okay. The DM, I think, Chairperson, with your permission, some of the things I think may be a given. They may be part of standard operating procedures. And I want to just make a recommendation that things that are your standard operating procedures, as far as possible, should not be included as part of the recommendations. So I was there for bullet number 6, submit a detailed report on the issuance of title deeds and the impact of, I think the way it should read, syntactically, it must be the title deed Friday, not Friday title deed, right? The other way around. I think title deed Friday. DM again will advise me and chair and honorable members. Yeah, so chair, those are my contributions. Of course, I did note some of the areas of the program, of the report, I beg your pardon, which in my view needed some editing insofar as the content is concerned, so that we do not delve too much into things that may otherwise be the normal course of the life of the department, etc. Oh yeah, there is this one other thing. that Honorable Dlamini raised. It was, Chair, anecdotal. You see, this report will be a property of Parliament and the public will access it. Now, there is reference there to invoicing either entities or the department for work that has not been done. As far as I recall, as we met in 2001 on the second floor, Honorable Dlamini referenced her experience or invoked her experience in the consultancy industry or business and said sometimes her previous employer would do certain things and it would not be possible to verify whether that kind of work had been done. Now, it was by way of example, and the context on the part of Honorable Dlamini was be careful not to be overzealous in outsourcing the work of government when in fact there are entities that could very well do that. And an example was made, for example, why would you use, I think, DBSA when you have HDA, etc. So it appearing the way it does suggests, Chairperson, or implies that we are saying that there are invoices that have been issued without work being done. It might very well be so, but remember, to the extent that it appears in the report, we will be held accountable. It says here, concerns were raised as to why there was a government entity utilizing consultants, given the fact that in most cases, invoices are produced to claim work that has not been done, etc. You see that. It is our report. We will debate it. And somebody will say, oh, yeah, this is what they say. But lastly, Chair, if you look at the, as I conclude, under observations, observations are made, but there is no context that is invoked to clothe these observations properly or to address these observations properly, because here they are just, statements that are made and they can be interpreted either way. As a concern is raised, but there is no answer that is given. And I think on a number of occasions, the DG and the DM responded to these issues that were raised as members were deliberating there. So to leave them hanging like that, inconclusively, so to speak, exposes us to all manner of interpretations. And once again, this will be a public document. Thank you, Chairperson. I hope my inputs have been noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ditebe. Are there further inputs? Honorable Karakile, followed by Honorable Paul.
Thank you, Chair. And I know I was not part of this, but we've been complaining about the assessment done by NHRBC, but I don't see it captured here. I don't see any plan. Because I remember in one of our meetings, we agreed that the NHRBC, they must make it a point that they appoint the engineers and the assessment done. They don't have to issue any certificate if the work is of a poor quality. They must be fair and just to make it a point that the houses given to our people, they are of a good quality. I don't see anything with regard to NHRBC, but it's for the committee to decide how we craft it and where do we put it. But in this report, it does not appear. And the quality of housing we are giving to our people is of a bad quality. Within 5 years, the house is down. Thank you, Chair. That is all that I wanted to say.
Thank you, Honorable Poole.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Chair, I have a few comments and then a few recommendations. First, I think the report lacked a real climate
resilience plan. Despite the rhetoric, little is budget for climate smart housing or disaster resilient planning. You can see only 60 million over 3 years to the UN Habitat Office and no direct investment into green housing pilots. So my proposal is propose climate smart housing pilots in high risk areas, Chair. And then, of course, I want to agree with member Betty regards to audit and governance weaknesses. The department still says in the unqualified audits, and my suggestion is, my position as a member is that there has to be a demand on full transparency on capital expenditure, especially emergency housing procurements. That is one of my comments. And then, of course, when it comes to the entities not performing, call for a performance review of public entities and accountability for transfers in that regard. And then my few recommendations, Chair, is to call for a housing delivery dashboard by provinces show use of grants, to push for minimum technical staffing norms for provinces to receive grants, recommend decentralizing title deed issuing to capable metros, support using performance-based transfers, rewarding provinces and metros that deliver efficiently, and then to push for third-party audits of informal settlements, upgrades, and capital grants. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gamede.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, noting that the consistent real budget declines coupled with these unresolved practical challenges suggest that even the allocated funds may not be effectively utilized, leading to continued underperformance and also a failure to deliver on the department's critical mandate. Chairperson, the attached budget report makes no explicit mention on the role of traditional leaders or their specific involvement, consultation, or allocated resources within the Department of Human Settlements plans, particularly concerning land allocation, informal settlement upgrading in rural and peri-urban areas, or even the process of addressing title deeds. For me, Chairperson, this omission suggests that despite their crucial influence and authority in many communities, the budget framework continues to overshadow and potentially marginalize their critical role in the planning, implementation, and success of human settlement initiatives, potentially leading to disconnects between policy and on-the-ground realities. Given the provided background, Chairperson, I don't think this budget, this budget report is actually ready to be supported until substantive deliberation is undertaken to address these matters. My comment is around that, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that was the last hand. I think what we should do is, honorable members commented about the content of the report. I take you have noted them.
Yes,
where there are amendments.
Yes.
Where you are not sure, where they suggested, especially Honorable Ditebe, Honorable Poole, and Honorable Kagakilwe, they were more specific about the content. Where you are not sure, please contact them to make sure that their inputs are covered. I think input by Honorable Gamede will form part of the debate for next week. It's a relevant input, but it doesn't reflect on the content, but it's more of a debate. Is this a new hand, Honorable Dithebe?
Yes, Chairperson, it is.
Yes, continue.
Yeah, Chairperson, just 2 points here. And thank you very much for directing us this way. I think ordinarily, the proofreading exercise in respect of the content of this report will be somewhat cumbersome if we do it, especially if we don't do it line by line. So I'm not certain whether we couldn't possibly have a new text presented with the amendments so that we can formally adopt it. Because what we've done now is, deliberate on the content, but what we have is still a raw text, if you like, yes, with amendments, but it doesn't reflect a clean text with those amendments reflecting as yet. So perhaps with your wisdom, we could be guided on that. The last point, Chairperson, is that maybe if with your permission, either you or the DM could just reflect on the issue of the pre-1994 rental, or rather housing stock. Remember, we spoke about the need for SPLUMA to accommodate this because that particular category of title deeds that have yet to be issued doesn't belong to the current period. And remember that DG said going forward, there is no request for a sui generis or special arrangement or special dispensation in respect of the issuance of title deeds. But the pre-1994 stock, which involves mainly stock that people would have rented with the so-called lodgers permits and others who would have built themselves houses. I think there must be reference to that, and specifically the committee must direct the department to communicate widely and constantly to the affected communities so that that aspect of the title deed is taken care of, because it is something that requires a collaborative effort between themselves and another sister department. So I thought, Chairperson, I should raise that one because I don't see it here. And for me, it's quite important. Yeah, thank you, Chair. With your guidance, maybe you may just wish to direct us on that particular one.
Okay. DM, do you want to say something with regard to that?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to all the members of the Portfolio Committee on the platform today. Chair, I think the whip, Honorable Dithebe is correctly putting it that on the issue of the title deeds, firstly, it's Title Deeds Friday, and it's the Ministry or Department of Human Settlements. That's the official one. He did raise all that as he was making an input, seeking us to to clarify it. Chair, for me, I think the department did come to the portfolio committee as the content advisor is presenting, and we presented the strategic priorities for both the 2025-2026 financial year, aligned with the National Development Plan and the MTSF of 2019 to 2024. And we outlined our key commitments in accelerating, sustainable human settlements, the upgrading of informal settlements, and improving access to basic services. And the department also, we did say that it also intends to finalize the human settlements white paper and develop a national human settlements legislation framework. And perhaps I did not hear it captured there, which I think it is also important. And we did highlight or report to the portfolio committee that the total of our budget 2025 and 2026, how much is it was, as it is stipulated there. Now, I'm aligning myself with the Honorable Ditebe when he says that perhaps the issue of the title deeds, particularly the pre-1994, it was said even in the last portfolio committee to say that it is a multifaceted approach that needs certain departments for us to be able to ensure that people, they get their title deeds and ownership to their properties. And in that, we also highlighted the fact that with this bloomer now, it is even difficult to give people title deeds, and with also the township establishments, which is in actual fact affecting the pre-1994 houses, is also another factor that is creating a bad luck in terms of issuing the title deeds. And we also alluded to the fact that in certain household, you go and you get the person inside the house, not the actual person that is on the title deed itself. So it then becomes difficult to give somebody a title deed that is not written on the title deed itself. And the title deeds restoration program and land ownership transformation, it then becomes very crucial for us as the department, and also draw in some legal gurus in terms of conveyances to ensure that people, they get their title deeds. I think that is the points which we put forward in the portfolio committees preceding today's meeting. And I think I must stop there, Chairperson. I was just responding to what was put to us. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Maybe let me check. Secretary, when are we supposed to have adopted the report? Secretary?
Hello, Chair. The report is supposed to be 80 latest on Tuesday, so that it can reflect on a Wednesday before the debate at at the M46.
Can I check with honorable members? If we give the content advisor an opportunity to go and correct as per your input, he also interact with individual members to understand better their inputs so that they are captured. Are you available Friday morning to adopt the report? Just to come and adopt the report. Honorable Detail.
Chairperson, I wouldn't mind Friday morning, but we must be mindful of the mini plenaries. I don't know what time specifically is proposed. With the body of the report already in place and the amendments that have been proposed, I'm not sure what the business of the day is like tomorrow. I don't think it's for the greater part of the day. We might perhaps, ask the content advisor to work today and tomorrow, and then maybe in the evening we convene virtually again to adopt the report. Unless, Chair, the proposal for us to convene on Friday will not clash with the mini plenaries, because normally, as you know, depending on the subject matter, we get to join virtually the different plenaries, perhaps with the advice from our secretary and support staff, Chair, and with your guidance. Thank you.
Okay. Normally, mini plenaries start at 10 in the morning. Our meetings usually start at 9. We can as well, that's my view, we can as well push it to start at 8:30, just to look at the report, and then we join mini plenaries. Secretary, what's your view?
Yes, Chairperson, on Friday, the House is starting at 10. So between 8 and 10, we can convene, Chair.
Okay. Can I get other members' views? Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to second Honorable Ditebe about maybe perhaps pushing it to tomorrow evening, because I know that on my side in particular, on behalf of the EFF, Friday for us is going to be a busy day, to a point that I'm not even sure if Honorable Blose will be available. And that's why I want to second Honorable Ditebe on those bases of availability, even from the morning on Friday. Thank you very much.
Okay, the proposal to convene tomorrow evening. Honorable Gamede.
I would like to second Honorable Dlamini, Honorable Ditebe, because I think we have a commitment. We portfolio committee that I sit in. We on appropriations on Friday. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Seemingly, the popular view is that we convene tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, what time? 20 hours? Well, 20 hours to Honorable Magagu.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, I agreed 20 hours, even 19 hours is still okay. But I second you with 20 hours.
All right. Honorable Ditebe.
Chair, I was about to propose 7 p.m. Depending on what time, perhaps could we be advised by the secretary, by that time, would we have dispensed with the business of the day? Because just 1 hour later, members might be a little exhausted. But I think Honorable Makakula supported your proposal on us to, start at 1900 hours. the earliest, I think. But if it's not possible, Chair, my fallback will be 2000 hours. But also to say, although it's been adopted, I always try to lend respect to meetings of the committee so that I don't have meetings while on board the bus, because it would have forced us into that situation where we would have started, depending on traffic jams and so forth, and participating in a meeting, considering important matters while on board the bus. But anyway, it's academic now, it's been resolved. Chair, yeah, I'm fine with either with 1900 hours or 2000 hours. Thanks.
Okay, for now, let's settle for 20 hours. Of course, we will all be in the house tomorrow because it's a physical sitting. We will evaluate the situation and we'll definitely advise, guide honorable members on what to do, because tomorrow is the Appropriations and Division of Revenue Bill, second reading, and debate on International Day Against Drug Abuse. I think the intention is to be done by 18 hours, but we know it can go. But let's settle for 18 hours. I mean, for 20 hours. And then honorable members will be guided accordingly. We'll study what is happening, the program of tomorrow, and guide. But what I want to emphasize is that please, TEPO, interact with all honorable members so that you are sure that you capture their inputs, yes, especially those who have made inputs on the platform. Honorable Ditebe, Honorable Gamede, Honorable Kahakibe, Honorable Poole in the main, but touch base with almost all members just to hear their views and correct. I think another thing Honorable Ditebe said, where concerns are raised, the department responded. Those responses need to be captured. And the DM also raised concerns that they've made presentations about the challenges they face with title deeds, the budget, and so on. So let's get them well captured. And Honorable Ditebe also talked about CISOs, some of the recommendations captured under CISOs are not necessarily belong there. Maybe what we must do is to remove specific reference to CISOs and make those recommendations as part of the broader recommendations. In brackets, you can, if they're directed to PPRA, you can say that in brackets, and then we move on. Contact also the DM just to understand better. I know because they were talking fast, you may not have captured everything, but make sure that you contact them, assisted by the secretary, to make sure that your report captures their views. Then we meet tomorrow. Secretary, for now, let's prepare to meet tomorrow at 20 hours. If you have captured everything according to what members said, it should not take more than 30 minutes. But if there's any change in terms of time tomorrow, influenced by the discussions in the House tomorrow, members will be advised accordingly. But before we sleep tomorrow, we must have looked at the report and decide whether we adopt it or not. Will that be fine with members?
Yes, Chair.
Great.
Sure.
Great, Chair.
Have you captured everything, Tsepo? What my summary?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I've captured your summary, sir.
Secretary, are you fine?
Yes, Chair, I am.
All right. Thanks very much. What's the next item?
That was the last item on the agenda, Chair.
Means the next item is closure. Thanks very much, honorable members. Let's meet tomorrow evening to find out before we go for debate next week. The meeting stand
Chair, before you adjourn, tell us why we shouldn't buy you a bottle of whiskey for being so short in the meeting, you know.
I'm just making the meeting.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Before you attend the meeting, I know that the nature dealt with me as I'm not a woman, I'm a man. Since when we started our meeting, you wanted only ladies to congratulate Siskoli. So congratulations, no para Siskoli, and we appreciate the work you do for us. Congratulations, you really are an inspiration. Thanks, Chairperson.
Yeah, I see Saira. You want to say something? Princess.
I just want to answer Honorable Detebede. The reason Chair has made the meeting so short today is because we're contesting in Neisner and I'm here. So he knows I have to work and I'm working very hard. So that's why he's given all of you off for today.
You can forget about that word. That word is ours. Let's meet tomorrow at 20 hours.
Thanks,
We're winning this. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
for a moment, I'm spared the wrath of the weather in Cape Town. I'm home in the sunny Free State. I'll join you later tonight.
It's freezing here. It's freezing, raining. Hey.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.